Guys, this is Nightwing2303 from kicksoncourt.com. Today we have the performance review on the Nike Kobe 9 Elite. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, so here's the traction pattern. It's basically a pressure mapped image of a foot. So you could see where the toes land, the ball of the foot, and all that kind of good stuff. This traction works beautifully. I don't know if you could see all the dirt and everything, but I played on some of the nastiest courts in these things and they held up great. Like there's if you want a squeak in your shoe, this is that shoe. There's two shoes that I personally prefer on any court surface. That's the 28 and the Air Penny 5, and these guys are basically tied with the 28. I can't pick which one has the best traction out of the two. I just really love it. As far as outdoor hoopers go, I kind of went over this in my first impression. The rubber here is really soft and pliable, great for indoors, but it's really thin, so if you do choose to use these outdoors, just expect to burn through them pretty quickly. As far as cushion goes, we have the same exact thing as the Nike Kobe 8. Basically, it's a drop-in lunar midsole, and personally, I really like it. They said that it was a little bit more responsive and all that kind of stuff. Personally, I didn't feel it whatsoever. It literally felt exactly the same as the Kobe 8 for me, so if you did like that setup, then you're going to be perfectly fine here. I do prefer this setup, but the LeBron midsole is a perfect attribute to add to the Kobe 9. So if you wanted more cushion, this is just a thicker lunar lawn midsole, and then you also have full-length zoom on the bottom. So for those of you that don't want super low profile cushion, this is basically where it's at. So if you're wondering how to pull them out, it's very simple. You just stick your hand in there, the midsole's inside, but just stick your hand in there, grab the arch or the lip right in here, and then turn it to the side. It pulls right out. Take your other midsole, stick it in there, and it basically just slides right in, and you are now good to go, and you have a thicker cushion with full-length zoom as well. So for those of you, like I said, that like that type of setup, this shoe is just very adaptive towards that. So if you already have the systems, you could just go ahead and go between the two cushions. So for the first time ever, everybody pretty much knows this, we have fly knit along the upper of a basketball shoe. This is, again, a first, and it's basically a continuation from last year's engineered mesh, and they just kind of stepped it up a notch with a more durable material. A lot of people had ripping issues along the medial and lateral side. This is the lateral side, sorry, but the medial and lateral side, they were ripping right around here. A lot of people, I've seen them rip right around here. I don't think that this is going to happen, at least not as quickly as it did with the engineered mesh. So this material is a little bit more durable, and there's fuse backed to the lining of it, which is very thin. So a lot of people, in my first impression, were a little bit concerned, saying, why would you use fuse and fly knit? One or the other should be fine. Using both, it just adds a little bit more strength. It's still very malleable, so it'll lock in your foot perfectly fine. So using both, I don't think it's a big deal. Using one or the other, I think you have a greater risk for one or the other to not perform as greatly as it would in conjunction with each other. Now, along with the fly knit and fuse, you have carbon fiber panels. Those things work great. They contain your foot, and then the whole back of the shoe is just fly knit. So it's a really thick fly knit piece. It's a really thick fly knit piece. So it's got that lining in there along with the knit itself, and I personally think it's fine. I don't think that it needs to be this high. I personally would just rather lace them right to where you see them now, but I do have to lace them to the second to last loop because the tongue is so puffy that if I don't, it'll kind of stick out a little bit and it just looks funny and it's a little irritating while you're running around. As far as their fit is concerned, I would go true to size. There is some dead space here, so once you lace them up all the way, they do contain your foot really nicely, and I actually didn't feel it once I started playing. However, every time I stopped playing, you could definitely notice that they're not as snug or form-fitting as the last model. One remedy to that would be either going down half a size, which might not be an option. My toes were right at the edge here, so going down half a size probably wouldn't have worked for me. The second option would be to put in that LeBron 11 midsole, because it sits just a little bit higher than the original midsole that it comes with. So it's going to lift your foot just a slight bit, enough to take up any of that dead space. As far as the lockdown is concerned, that midfoot lockdown is very nice. I'm able to tie my laces really tightly. I can feel the fly wire cables within there kind of harnessing your foot and keeping it drawn into the footbed. As far as the heel lockdown goes, you are perfectly locked in because of this excessively high collar. It doesn't need to be this high, but it is, so what can you do? The carbon fiber cup is basically the same thing as the carbon fiber clip that we've been seeing, or the TPU clips, but instead of covering it from the back end, you're just securing it where you need to on the medial and lateral side. So when you're doing medial and lateral movements, you're not shifting within the shoe. As far as ventilation is concerned, most of that's coming from the tongue here. We have a torch-like material, and then there are some minor perforations underneath the fly net which you cannot see within the fuse itself. So most of your ventilation is coming right here and right here, just enough for heat to escape. As far as support is concerned, most of that's coming from the overall fit. Again, if you feel that there's a little bit extra dead space and you own the LeBron 11, put in that drop-in midsole and you'll be perfectly fine. The rest of the support is coming from these carbon fiber pieces, and there is a internal TPU shank. It's very thin, so it's not like the original ones, but again, these two here are just fine. They do lack a traditional support shank in the arch area. However, this piece here acts as that torsional support, so you can't move over this way all the way, but you can move over this way, which reminds me a lot of the 28's flight plate system, but it's not decoupled, as you can see. So you're still getting that same effect where you're getting full range of motion, and then you have support on this end. Alright guys, that takes care of everything for the Nike Kobe 9 Elite. Personally, I really love this model, mostly because of its low profile feel, its adaptive type of fit, especially in the back collar area, and that traction is just beast. So these are a little bit hard to get, or not a little bit, but they're really hard to get, and if you can get your hands on them, I do recommend them. I wish that they were a little bit lower, but hey, what can you do? Maybe for the low top version. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support. You can always go to my site, kicksoncourt.com, for all your performance needs. So until next time, guys, have a good one.